It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that one and done train. Mike, did you know that Dan Hurley turned down an opportunity to coach LeBron James? But tonight it sure did look like he was coaching baby Shaq, but it wasn't. It was Terrace Reed,
Nice.
the game of his life, and UConn with quite possibly the most impressive victory of the entire college basketball season, a 72-40 shellacking of conference rival St. John's. And we're happy that you joined us here on One and Done to chop it up. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Welcome to the show. My name is Jay Heinrich. If you don't know, now you know. I'm the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train. Joined tonight on your viewing device by the man around here known as El Capitan himself, the captain of the One and Done ship at MC Holland 34. Over on X, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, this is one of the most impressive victories of the year, and that's after we covered Michigan's win last week that they had. This was an absolute beatdown. Where do you even want to – I think we got to start with my guy off the jump, Terrace Reed here. What are your thoughts about this absolute dominating performance by UConn?
Yeah, whatever they got him fired up with on the defensive end, if they can bottle that up, then I am all of a sudden a big believer in them being a 1 seed and also a national title contender, man. Offensively he was great, but on the defensive glass, the shot blocking, 6 blocks, right? Like, it was just really impressive. And he was blocking shots, on dead balls, man, like fouls, and like he was grabbing rebounds too. It's like, man, like this guy could have had he had a ridiculous night, obviously, but he could have had just an even crazier night if some of the whistles hadn't come. But he was just amazing across the board, man. So, the biggest thing, they got slaughtered last game in the first matchup because of the size of St. John's and the ability of those 3 front court players with Ejiofor, Hopkins, and Mitchell. But yeah, looks like he could tell Hurley was pretty hyped up, right? When Reed subbed out at the end, he was really hyping him up. And, the broadcast was talking about how, Hurley probably said, you're going to let these guys come in here and dominate you. And he came out, and within the first 2 minutes, you were like, oh, we're getting this Terrace Reed. The only thing that's probably going to stop him on both ends of the floor is going to be fouls. And that just didn't happen. So, yeah, I thought just an impressive victory overall. It kind of sucks, though, man. Like, we were looking forward to this because the Big East is down, Jay. So, you wait and you're like, man, like, they're just kind of beating up. Villanova's going to get into the tournament. Seton Hall's on the outside looking in. But the rest of this league is, it's just tough. They don't, they haven't really played anybody since December worth anything, both of these teams, really, outside of each other. So kind of disappointing that St. John's would come out with this lack of effort. Bryce Hopkins, man, like he just absolutely struggled. It just seemed like the ball was stuck. A lot of isolation. When you looked at the UConn side, like the ball was popping and they were just trying to find Reed inside because he was working to get the ball inside and do some damage. So what were your thoughts, man?
Well, first of all, thanks for joining us. Hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Hop in the chat. Let us know what you think about this game. We'd love to hear from you. I know our OG in the chat, Johnny K, is hanging around somewhere. Hope to hear from him as well as the rest of St. John's supporters. Hop in the comments if you're watching in the morning. And apologies to Johnny K, of course. I'm only joking. Hope that you're hanging in there after this tough loss. But UConn with the 32-point victory right now. The Huskies were very impressive. I like Sandin as a player a lot for St. John's. He had 10 points in the first half for them, and that's only the second time he's been in double figures all game. He had it in the first half. Guess what? He didn't score in the second half. But don't worry, because nobody scored in the second half. The last time they had a field goal was when it was 45-31.
That's wild.
That was before the under 16.
Yikes.
They didn't score a field goal the rest of the game, Mike. 9 free throws the rest of the way. The final 16 plus. All they got out of it was 9 free throws. Now, we were talking in the pre-show. Was that because of UConn's smothering defense towards the end? No, it was like there was cellophane on the rim and nothing was going in for St. John's. I felt bad for them, honestly, but it was almost also like, man, I kind of want to see if they'll go the whole rest of the game without scoring a field goal. And obviously I don't want them to miss the shots, Mike, but it was actually a tough watch if you're a St. John's fan, and for anybody for that matter. We were looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
Dylan Mitchell was basically a no-show. 37 minutes, and it was the least impressive game that I've ever seen him play. And we watched him play quite a bit here around our neck of the woods when he was playing in Central Texas. Osiah Sellers, 33 minutes, 4 points. Let's talk about Zuby.
Yeah.
Zuby do tonight? What did Zuby do tonight that was memorable? Do you remember any plays that Zuby Ejiofor made tonight?
No, but I think that's kind of the problem with this team, Jay, sometimes is that they don't utilize their best player. Like they're shooting they shot 23s. They shouldn't be shooting 23s. Jay, they shot better from three than they did from the field. They shot 19.6% from the field. They got nothing inside. Nothing inside. And Zuby had 5 field goals, Jay. Oh, he shot 40%. Why don't you give him, when you're shooting 20%, how about you give him another 15 attempts, and maybe, just maybe, you could put Reed in foul trouble. Maybe you can score more than 40 points. I have an issue with St. John's, and this happens to him all the time. Like, it's really frustrating to see Hopkins take 14 field goal attempts, to see, Ian Jackson taking 6 attempts, like, get the ball inside. And I know Zuby, like, he's a great passer and he's going to play within the offense, but sometimes I want to see him just like kind of be like Terry Reed was, and just like get inside, just dominate his man. Like, but his best opportunity came on a 3-pointer from the corner off an inbound play. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it was just ugly all around. Like, St. John's is not going to win any games when they can't get anything from inside the arc, because they're not a great shooting team. They don't have a lead point guard that's going to get them in the sets. They've basically been playing with a 2-guard, Osiah Sellers, at the point, and then running point forward with Dylan Mitchell, who is a capable, 4-man that can run some offense. But you play these teams, they're 2-5 now against the KenPom top 50. Like, when you play teams that are pretty good defensively, then you play teams that have talent, you're going to need to be able to shoot the 3, and you need to get the ball inside to your best player. Like, that would have opened up the entire offense. They didn't do it, Jay. I don't love it. That's Tom Patino to me. I don't know. So, and
it's almost like you watch this game and you see how everything, they were going through the motions and they'd given up, and it was very obvious. And UConn kind of pulled off the gas, and you could see Hurley actually, I feel like he apologized to a couple of coaches, like, hey, we weren't trying to let this get out of hand. And everybody seemed like they were cool with it. And that wasn't the intention from Hurley here. St. John's couldn't throw it into the ocean. Like, it wasn't even it wasn't going to happen. Like, but the thing is it was almost like towards the end of the game, they just covered both rims and nothing was going in for either team other than free throws. And let's just get this thing over with. A 72-40 win for UConn. That is not, you don't need to adjust your dial. You don't need to mess with your volume. 72-40, a 32-point Big East victory for UConn over St. John's. A little bit of silver lining maybe as we get some people hopping in the chat here. Our guy Cam saying Reed trying to carry the injured best ballers to the finish line. Yeah, our guy, the godfather of Iowa bowling, of course, is in our best ball league here on One and Done. Shout out to Cam. Join him in the chat for sure.
Jay, I got a question for you, man.
Yeah. What's up?
Man, like, this has been bothering me since the game ended. And I want to get your take. Why are the starters for UConn out there until like a minute, until the 2-minute mark? What is the upside being up 30 points and leaving your starters on the court? To me, it's just downside. And it happens, I'm not just saying, it happens to almost every single team in college basketball. It makes zero sense. Like, what? I don't understand. Throwing up an amen for me.
I think a part of that is a 32-point win looks a lot better than a 16-point win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Metric-wise, right? Yeah, you're right.
And that stuff matters from seeding perspective. All of it matters. And when I saw Ejiofor get bloodied up around the 5-minute mark,
yeah, he's done.
I thought for sure that was it for both teams.
Yeah.
I didn't think that we were going to see. It took another 2+ minutes for those guys. 3 minutes. It was under 2, I feel like, before UConn really pulled all of their guys. It took almost 3 more minutes after Zuby Ejiofor's mouth was bloodied up. Get these guys out of the game.
Demary got smacked. going to the rim with 2 minutes to go, man. That could have been a disaster.
And shout out to Prey because he was not going to let that happen. I'm not even mad at that foul.
Yeah.
Take the flagrant. He didn't try to kill him. He didn't try to just he hacked him hard. He's like, you're not going to do that to my team. And that was one thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because there are a couple of silver linings that I think St. John's can take away from this. There were still some guys, not everybody, but there were still some guys that were playing super hard all the way until the end of this game. And also, Mike, we saw the offensive rebounds happen. We saw the size take over a little bit in the second half. They still couldn't make it any buckets. They still couldn't take advantage of it, whether they were putting it back up inside, whether they were kicking it out from three. They were 0 for their last 24 from the field.
That's really tough to do, actually.
You can't do that if you tried to miss 24
tough,
straight shots from anywhere on the court within a reasonable distance. Somebody will make one.
Yeah.
0 for their last 24. It wasn't happening, man. I don't know why those stars were out there for so long, but I do know that UConn pulled off the most impressive win in college basketball this season, in my opinion, a 72-40 beatdown of St. John's. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Hop in the chat. Let us know if you're watching later on. Make sure you hop in the comments. We want to hear from you, Husky fans, St. John's fans. I was joking earlier. I wasn't trying to pour salt in the wound. We want to hear from you. Let us know if brighter days are ahead, as both of these teams now sit atop the big, well, at least in terms of, I guess UConn is, got the one win over, right? They got a game. St. John's has a game in hand here. So, yeah, that half-game lead, I guess. UConn technically in first here now in the Big East. I mean, you don't expect this from this kind of matchup at this point in the season, Mike, but we got it for sure. What else stood out to you here on UConn's side? Was there anything that actually I wanted to see? Was there anything that concerns you from UConn as well?
Yeah, I really love the offensive connectivity from UConn. You pretty much have everything that you want offensively. I mean, how many times last year were we just begging for them to start Terrace Reed because they weren't any good defensively last year? And it's just play Terrace Reed 35 minutes and at least try offensively to get there. Well, this year, they were a little bit better defensively, 9th in defensive efficiency overall. But, the Dan Hurley offense, when you have Mullins who can shoot, man, he hit a corner three today. That's like a fadeaway, man. That guy is just absolutely filthy. Eighth in the country in assists to field goals made. But really for them, it's just going to come down to if Terrace Reed's going to have that kind of defensive performance. They have Rebe coming off the bench, who's a decent big that can give them 8 to 12 solid minutes of hard work, right? There's a lot to like. They're also big. Upgrading from Hassan Diarra, a 5'11", sixth man, to Silas DeMary, a 6'4", strong point guard. Now all of a sudden they're kind of Duke, when you look at Ball, Mullins, Kerr, but now they got size all over the place. And so the switching becomes a lot easier. So to me, they kind of have a lot of tools, especially offensively. But now when you back it up this year compared to last year, Jay, last year they were 75th in defensive efficiency. 75th. You're not winning anything. I mean, McNeely couldn't guard anybody. Hassan Diarra can't guard anybody. Alex Kerr tries, but when you put other guys out there that kind of can defend their position, now it makes it a little bit easier. Terrace Reed's going to defend like that, Jay. Oh my God. I was like, what? Where is this coming from? But they
6 blocks.
That up.
6.
Yeah, a game changer.
It was like it was like those commercials where you jump up and you just grab it and you come down with it. It felt like NBA Jam.
It felt like that.
We were just jumping out and just, nope, that's mine from out of nowhere. Nothing was working for St. John's and everything went right for UConn. I want to make sure we touch on a couple of key stats before we get out of here, Mike. Fast break points. UConn comes in averaging just below 9 fast break points per game. They had 14 tonight. Do you know how many St. John's had? And do you know that it was as many as you and I did?
Considering they made 11 field goals, and it makes sense for UConn to get over that 10-piece because they don't like to run. They're pretty slow, so they're like, oh.
Hey, that was a part of. That was a part. I want to get to that in a minute. The other stat though, 42 to 12, excuse me, in points in the paint in favor of UConn. It was extreme. It was absolutely dominating. Led by Terrace Reed, his double-double, monster double-double with 6 blocks and 2 steals. if you need it, by the way. What a performance by him. Caravan had himself a nice game as well. Mullins, like you said, was hitting threes. Ball looked good. Like this, everybody seemed to just be firing on all cylinders tonight for UConn. That's a dangerous team. Now, what were you talking about? I wanted to get back to Mike. I wanted to make sure I touched on that point. What were we talking about?
I think the weirdest thing here, the points in the paint. St. John's has not been very good inside this year, even with the 3 big lineup. In Big East play, Jay, they're bottom 3 in 2-point percentage at 48%. And that just tells me that you're not getting Zuby enough touches inside. Now, their free throw rate is nearly 41%. So they're getting to the line. But, you need to play through him, man. Like, I don't know. It seems like a simple fix. But they got issues, man. Like, they got issues rolling into the tournament. I don't care if they beat up on all these other Big East teams. They're going to roll in with 6 losses to the tournament, right? Like, there's some outstanding problems that even if they get through the first weekend, I'm a little nervous about what they're going to do because we haven't seen them beat a KenPom top 50 team, and they also lost to Providence this year. So,
I remember what I was going to say. We were talking about tempo. UConn is sub 300 in tempo, right? But that first half, they were getting up and down. They were forcing the issue. They were moving, and St. John's was not adjusting, period. There were runs of multiple runs where UConn was like, okay, it's 11-0 run, 15-0 run, 20-0 run, whatever it was. There were multiple runs that UConn made, and St. John's had absolutely zero response at all for any of it. A 72-40 win in Big East play for UConn over St. John's. UConn sitting atop the Big East. Now, James Fraser hopping in there. What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in the chat. We definitely appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Cam and James hopping in there. Make sure before you sign off, if you're still hanging out with us live, hop in the chat. Let us know. Drop us a fire emoji, whatever you want to do in there. Let us know what you thought about this game before we sign off here. Our guy Nate pushing the buttons tonight, scrolling it across the bottom of your viewing device there. Like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you're watching later on. If you're watching with your Cheerios, and if you didn't know, the best part of waking up is one and done in your cup. Just put it in your cup, stir it up a little bit, have it with your Cheerios, and enjoy us chatting it up about UConn's 32-point win, 72-40 over St. John's. Mike, your final thoughts before we sign off.
Final thoughts is I hope we get to see this in the Big East tournament. All signs point to it happening, but it's tournaments, you just never know what's going to happen. I do want to see one more matchup, man, because we're not. I know we got Villanova playing St. John's. Like, it's gonna be hard teams, man. Like to pick when you get there, because it's like, oh, it's gonna be kind of rough. Like giving the Big East some respect, and I'm probably gonna get killed for it in comments and later on. But just the fact of the matter, man. Like I do have some concerns, but I think, UConn's upside is real. I'm also worried to marry one turnover. Well, the team only had 5 turnovers. That's Hurley's offense. Like, they're just not going to turn the ball over.
But when Demery is on, James, like, if he's not turning the ball over, if UConn's not turning the ball over in general, 5 turnovers, like Mike said, the entire game here, and, 47% from the field.
Yeah.
And Terrace Reed blocks 6 shots and gets 2 steals. Who's going to beat them?
Yeah, it's not a lot of teams.
Neutralize St. John's size that they couldn't in the first game and made them pay for it. A 32-point win, 72-40 for UConn over St. John's. Thanks for hanging out with us here on One and Done. We appreciate Nate for pushing the buttons. Appreciate Eric the Blue for setting up the studio. I appreciate the man sharing your viewing device with me. Around here, he's known as El Capitan himself, the captain of the One and Done ship at MC Holland 34 on X. That's the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. We're going to be back with you here on the show on Friday to get you ready for that Saturday morning main slate in those DFS streets. To make sure you hit all those buttons, like, subscribe. Ooh, ring the bell. Ring that bell as well. Make sure you don't miss one single solitary minute of our college basketball coverage. 72-40 for UConn. Best one of the season for me. Until next time, tell somebody that you love them. Take care of yourselves, okay? My name is JAYHEINRICH. Come again. We'll see you.